Hey, what's up guys, it's Dark Duels, and today we're going to be doing a Metal Foes deck profile. So you guys have been requesting this one like crazy for me to do an update of a Metal Foes deck since Blazing Vortex dropped, and I'm really excited to bring this one to you guys because it's a very interesting deck that even has one of the coolest and most weird kind of cards in the entire game, which is an extra deck monster that is a Pendulum monster also. I'm always fascinated by these and think they're really cool, and I'm really excited to do this one because this deck just got insane support in Blazing Vortex with new Pendulum cards, this new awesome Pendulum Fusion monster, and even a new Fusion spell, which is amazing for the deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, where I have all those awesome rewards for you guys, like getting your name scripts for every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing a single copy of Vanisher. You really just need one copy of Vanisher. Vanisher is a really good card in the deck, but with it being a level 9 monster, it's a little hard to Pendulum summon this card out, but it has the ability that if a monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, then you can add one Metal Foes card from your graveyard to your hand, except another copy of Vanisher, and you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. That's its Pendulum effect. For its monster effect, while this card's in your hand, you can target 2 face-up cards you control, including a Metal Foes card, and destroy them, and then if you do, you special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned by the effect of a Metal Foes card, you get to target one monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard and instantly banish him, which is a really good effect, especially on a 2900 beat stick. It's just really good, and something the deck actually needed was a main deck boss monster. We then play 3 copies of Parametal Foes Melcast. Melcast is really good in this deck. Melcast has the ability that once per turn, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, you get to set a Metal Foes spell or trap directly from your deck, which is a really good effect. And then its monster effect is if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you get to add one Metal Foes Pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand, which helps you out a little bit with the way that you have to Pendulum summon now with link mechanics, where you have to either summon to an extra monster zone from the extra deck or special summon to a link zone while you special summon from the extra deck, which is kind of neat that this card kind of bypasses that and puts them back in your hand. It also has the ability that, but you can't activate cards or effects with that card's name or place it in the Pendulum zone for the rest of the turn except by a card effect. And you can only use each of this card's effect once per turn, which is still a really good card just to be able to use those particular effects. We then play 3 of this particular Metal Foes. You play 3 of this one because it's just really good. Gear is just really good because you can once per turn target one other face-up card you control and destroy it, and if you do, you get to set a Metal Foes spell or trap directly from your deck, and it's a scale 8, which just helps out with the deck a lot. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can add a Metal Foes monster from your deck to your hand, and during the end phase of this turn, you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, which is an overall really good card. So for the normal monsters, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Volflame. Volflame is just really good. Its Pendulum effect is that once per turn, you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, you get to set a Metal Foes spell or trap directly from your deck. We play 3 copies of Goal Driver. Goal Driver is pretty much the same thing. It lets you target one other face-up card you control, destroy it, and you get to set a Metal Foes spell or trap directly from your deck, which is really good for the deck to be able to just put them on your side of the field. And I really like the fact that you basically have instant access to all of your fusion spells. It just helps the deck out a lot. We then play 3 copies of Silverite. This card is really good too because it has the ability, has the same effect as the Goal Driver, that you just get to pop a face-up card, and then you get to set a Metal Foes spell or trap from the deck. And then I play 3 copies of Steelin as well. Steelin has had the same thing. All of the normal monsters share basically the same effect. Their scales just differ, which is why this deck is so easy to play. Basically, the only unique effects are these ones up here that you have to memorize, and then you can use pretty much all of these for their Pendulum effects to be able to go off with different plays. And then for the non-Metal Foes cards, we're playing a single copy of Qliphort Monolith and a single copy of Qliphort Scout. These are basically here because they're high scale and low scale, and you can use them to go into Cyber Dragon Infinity because they're machine monsters, which is super nice to be able to do. They're really easy to pop out of the scales and then put them in the extra deck and then be able to Pendulum summon them out to your side of the field, which is really nice to be able to get multiple cards on your side of the field, which is really good. We then play 3 copies of Rescue Rabbit to round out the monsters in the main deck. The Rescue Rabbits are basically here to help you summon out your Goal Drivers and any of your normal monsters that are level 4 or lower. So basically all of these right here, and then your Goal Drivers as well. They're really easy to get out to your side of the field. And it kind of helps you get additional plays on your side of the field. So you can link summon and go into Xyz plays and go into fusion plays just a little bit easier in the deck, and thins the deck out so you can start getting some of your pendulum cards active and on the field. So that's it for your monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing quite a few fusion spells, and I have some really interesting tech cards in here for you guys. So we're going to open up with a single copy of Metalfoes Fusion. So Metalfoes Fusion is really good in the deck because it lets you fusion summon one Metalfoes Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials, and if this card's in the grave, you can shuffle this card into the deck, and then you get to draw a card, which is really good just to be able to get you a little bit more recovery, so you can constantly always have that one, at least one card in your deck that you're going to be able to fusion summon with. We then play a single copy of Full Metalfoes Fusion, which is basically just a fusion spell, quick play spell, that you fusion summon a Metalfoes from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. So it's basically just here to be able to fusion summon. We play a single copy of the new Metalfoes Fusion, which is Parametalfoes Fusion, which is a very interesting card that actually has True King of All Calamities on it, and it has the ability that you can fusion summon one Metalfoes fusion monster from your extra deck using one monster from each from your hand, field, and or face up from your extra deck as a fusion material, which is very interesting that you can use like 3 different cards to 3 different areas to actually fusion summon, which is really amazing. You play a single copy of Emergency Teleport because a lot of your lower level monsters are actually psychic types, so it's really easy to use this just to instantly throw one out on the field. We play double Painful Decision. Painful Decision is really good in the deck because it lets you send one level 4 lower normal monster from your deck to the grave, and then you get to add one monster with the same name from your deck to your hand, which is really easy to do, especially if you want to get like a gold driver from your deck to your hand. This card's really nice. We then play Double Unexpected Dive. Double Unexpected Dive is basically just turns all of your like normal monsters that are not Volflame directly into Cyber Dragons, which is really cool to special summon them directly from the deck. And then we play 3 copies of Summoner Art. Summoner Art is really good too, because it searches your copy of Volflame, and it searches out your copy of your Cleaforts, which is really, really, really nice just to search those copies of your Cleaforts to get them to your hand so you can go into your copy of Nova very, very quickly. And overall, it's just a really good card. Like, it searches anything that's level 5 or higher, so Volflame and both your Cleaforts are just really nice to be able to search. And then I personally play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. I feel like this is a very underutilized card in this deck because a lot of people are just overlooking the fact that you have stuff like your copy of Crimson Knight to be able to fusion summon 2 of your opponent's monsters away with one of your Metalfoes that you can then recover next turn and put a 3k beat stick on the field. Like, it's just really, really good to be able to use your Super Polymerization to out an entire board against your opponent with like 1 copy of Crimson Knight. Yes, it does make you go first. I mean, you have to go first to be able to play around it, and that's totally fine. And with me, I like going first in Metalfoes to get my setup with my plays. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just playing 2. I'm playing a single copy of Counter and a single copy of Combination. These are basically just here because Counter says if a card you control is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you special summon a Metalfoes monster from your deck, and then during either player's turn, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card to add 1 Metalfoes pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. And then Combination is once per turn of a fusion monster is fusion summoned, you target 1 Metalfoes monster in your grave with a lower level than that fusion monster and special summon him. The sent card to the field from the graveyard, and you can also use the effect of if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you get to add 1 Metalfoes from your deck to your hand, which is really nice because a lot of your cards actually pop cards, so this card comes in really handy to be able to pop it and then be able to add them from deck to hand. So these are really good as 1-ofs each. They're searchable, which is why I only play 1 each of them. You could potentially play 2 counter. I like 2 counter in a build, but I wouldn't play any more than 1 combination. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing a single copy of the new Metalfoes Pendulum Fusion Monster. This card's really good because it has the ability that if a face-up Metalfoes card you control is destroyed by card effect, then you can target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy it, which is a really good effect just to be able to kind of like go against your opponent, that if one of your cards gets destroyed, you get to pop card they control, which is really nice, or extend by popping your own cards, which is super nice as well. And it also has the ability that it has a monster effect that you have to use a Metalfoes and a fusion monster, so this is kind of the end-all be-all of your cards. If you're playing against a fusion deck, this card is ridiculously easy to go into with Super Polymerization. It has the ability that if this card is fusion summon, or this card is special summon from the X deck, you get to target one card your opponent controls and shuffle 2 face-up Pendulum monsters from your X deck into the deck, and if you do, destroy that card. And you can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. That if this card is in the monster zone and is destroyed, you get to place this card in your Pendulum zone, which is pretty good. It's a good one of. I probably wouldn't play it any more than one because it's a little tough to get out, but it is a good one of. We then play 2 copies of Mytherium. Mytherium is really nice too in the deck. It does take Pendulum monsters to fusion summon into this card, but it's an overall really good 2 of in the deck because you get to target 2 Metal Foes in your graveyard and 1 card on the field, shuffle the targets into the deck, and then if you do, you return the target to the hand, or field to the hand. You can only use the following effect once per turn, or you can only use the effect once per turn. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon a Metal Foes Pendulum monster from your graveyard or face up from your extra deck to your side of the field, which is pretty good. I usually go for this card first along with Alcahest. Alcahest I play as a 2 of in the deck. Alcahest is a really neat card in the deck too because it has the ability that it's probably one of the most unique card in the entire deck, and I love that it's called Full Metal Foes, so it's like Full Metal Alchemist. I love that. When I originally saw this card, I was like, oh, that's a cool reference. But it has the ability that you must fusion summon this card and it cannot be special summoned by other ways. And then once per turn during your opponent's turn, you can target 1 effect monster on the field and equip it to this card, and it's a quick effect as well, and this card gains defense equal to the combined original attack of the monster equipped to this card by this effect. And then once per turn, you can use a monster you control to equip this card you control as fusion material for the fusion summon of a Metal Foes, which is pretty good that you can just take your opponent's cards and use them as fusion materials to go into your other fusions. I play 1 copy of the Orichalcum. This card is really, really, really good in the deck. It does double piercing damage. If a Metal Foes monster attacks, it does double piercing. And also, if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. This is probably my favorite one of them all, which is why I play it as a 1 of. I've seen a lot of people just drop this card out of the deck because it's really good. Like, I don't understand why you drop this card. It does double piercing damage and makes all of your Metal Foes do double piercing damage. It essentially turns them into Chaos Max. We then play a single copy of Crimsonite, which is basically a super poly target that lets 1 Metal Foes monster plus 2 monsters with 3,000 or less attack. Now read into that really quick. This is recorded before the ban list, so right now, we're running around with Dragoons and Anaconda everywhere, and you can basically use Super Polymerization, use one of your Metal Foes and a Anaconda and Dragoons, and essentially just instantly get rid of that. And that's going to be their final card that they're going to play, so then you can go in for an OTK next turn, which is why I play this as a 1 of. And this card, it's just so good with Super Polymerization to handle fields. Like, it's really, really good, and a lot of people overlook this card. I play a single copy of Adamantite. This card is really good too because it lets you fusion summon a monster that has 2,500 or less attack and a Metal Foes monster, so it's just an overall really good 1 of in here. I probably wouldn't play any more of these 2 or any of these 3 more than 1 each because they're kind of my super poly targets for these 2. Alcahest kind of comes up sometimes when your opponent's playing a normal monster. You can kind of get rid of like a token or something, and then you can use the copy of the Parametal Foes down there at the end, the fusion monster, to get rid of another fusion monster, which is kind of nice. I play a single copy of the Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos, because Volflame is a level 7. And you play Melcast that's at level 7, which is really easy to use, the copy of the Blackluster Soldier Link monster. Also, its zones are really nice for pendulum summoning, and it's just an overall really big beat stick that can get huge and can't be targeted when you use a monster that's level 7 or higher. I use one of the new Heavy Metal Foes Link monster. This card's pretty good too because it lets you target 1 Metal Foes monster you control, equip this card to it, and then it gains 1,000 attack, and you can target 1 Metal Foes card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. So it's a really good card overall, just to help you, like, you want to immediately pop this card or equip it and then pop it because you want to be able to get this card onto your side of the field so you can use it as a link material. I play a single copy of Gravity Controller. Now, the reason you play Gravity Controller is actually for Odd Eye's Absolute Dragon. Absolute Dragon, you want to get off the field as quickly as possible so you can special summon Vortex for free, which is the big reason that you play it, Gravity Controller, because you link summon or you exit summon to Absolute, and then you immediately link it away for the Gravity Controller, and then you get to summon Vortex off the Absolute, which is kind of neat. And then you play a single copy of Nova and a single copy of Infinity. The Nova Infinity is basically just here for the copies of your Qliphorts because you can use the Monolith and the Scout to go directly into your copy of your Cyber Dragon, which is really easy because you can do simple plays like lay down a copy of, like, let's just say you open up a copy of any Metal Foes card and a copy of Scout. You can lay the Scout in your scales and then pay the 800, search Monolith, and then use your copy of your other Metal Foes card to pop the Scout and then put it in the extra deck. And then once you put it in the extra deck, you can lay another card, or you can set a Metal Foes like counter down, and then immediately after you lay the Metal Foes counter down, you just set the scale and then Pendulum summon both your Pendulum summon out both of your copies of your Cleafor monsters, and then overlay for Cyber Dragon, Nova, and Infinity, and you already have a negation and a counter set, which is really nice. So that's pretty much it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really cool deck to play with. It's relatively budget to play with the deck too, because I mean, outside of this, and it's getting a reprint, so we don't know what the rarity of this is, or we know that it's going to be a ghost, but we don't know how expensive it's going to be. You don't have to play this if you don't want to. You can play Nightmare Unicorn if you want to play Nightmare Unicorn, just to make it a little bit more budget. But everything else in the main deck is very, very, very budget to play around with Metal Foes, which is really nice about this deck. I really love playing this deck, and it's one of my favorite Pendulum decks to actually throw, like, around and, like, play with. So, anyways, guys, this is Dark Room Duels. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can come by our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.